I'm Chris Davis. Chris Davis Proud on social media. I am coming to you from the end of my pier on the lake. This is the coolest thing ever. I have my fancy Wi-Fi, which is my phone hotspot on the top of a tripod right next to me. I don't know if you can hear the water. I am Camp Paradise. Just letting you know some things that are going on, exciting things, and also just to check in. I'm updating my website, so I'm really excited to be able to share that now. It's chrisdavisproud.com, and guess what? I have a chatbot. You can totally see my chatbot on there that has like my branding and like the orange and navy colors, and I programmed it so that it's like talking to you. Like it's like, how do I say it? It's like warm and Grammy and camp, and it just talks about the website and how to navigate it. I had no parameters on it at first of what it could talk about, and like my friend said that it went out and gave him all this information that was not appropriate for me to be sharing. So we put a little rein on that parade, and it's pretty cool. It talks like me. It uses some of my same expressions, and it is warm, and it's make anybody feel bad about themselves. And it has some main expressions in there, and just more. Kind of what you expect from me. It has my voice on it, so just to let you know that's on there. I am also launching, as we speak, registration for my Taking Up Space workshop series for women's empowerment. It's a 6-week cohort that starts on September 10th, coming right up, right around the corner. So I'll put in the show notes, I'll put a link to register for that. You can also find it on my website, chrisdavisproud.com. The link will send you to an interest form, and then you will sign up with that interest form, and that will send you to a link to 15 minutes with me, just to make sure we're a good fit and to make sure that we're a good fit for the rest of the people in the group. And then after our little chat, then I'll send you the link to register, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be fundamental for a lot of women, because it's my process, and the curriculum is broken down by week. Like the first week is who am I? Because you'd be surprised how many women have trouble making that list, because I stipulate who are you, not in relation to what you do for other people or roles that you perform. Like, who are you intrinsically? Who are you as a developed human? The list is harder to make than you might think for a lot of people. And it was hard for me even at first. So that's the first section. And then the second week, it's every week. It's going to be on Thursdays in the evenings. The second week is, what do I feel? And we talk about what it feels like in our bodies to take up space, and how scary that is, and how we can feel safer, work toward feeling safer, so that we can speak up. And the third week, shouldn't be doing this off memory. I'm gonna cheat. I'm going to look it up. The third week, I don't want to get it wrong. That's the thing. The third week is, what do I want? It is surprisingly hard to find out what we do want, because we have a whole list of things we don't want. So let's talk about what we do want, because you cannot build a life and a world and a community and a relationship based on I'm not that. So what are you? What do you want? What don't you want? And then what do you want? Because you already know what you don't want. So we'll talk about maybe what you do want and what it looks like not to abandon yourself to help the people around you. You want to be there for your family, but you also want to have your own identity. So that's going to take some work, both for you to get clarity and then to communicate that to them. So we'll talk about what do you want, and then we will talk about what do I value. In order to speak up for yourself, you need to decide these things ahead of time. I needed to, because it's hard in the moment to make a decision. When somebody asks me to do something, it's hard for me to decide in that moment whether I have the capacity to do it, whether that's really important to me, or if it's just something that's important to the person who's asking me. So what do I value? We'll talk about making a list of values. That way, when the moment comes for you to say yes or no, or make a choice between A and B, or A and B and C, or A and B and C and D, that you've already decided what your priorities are. And you can make your choices based on your values and your priorities. It makes it a lot easier. And next week is week 5 is, where is my power? This took me a while to learn, and I think it's really valuable to know where your power is, where it comes from, where it is inside you, how you make that stronger, how you identify it more. Because acting from a place of powerlessness, just hoping that people will get it, people will read your mind, that people will finally give in to your passive aggression, is not working. It doesn't work for us. We think it will, we hope it will. Sometimes it gets our loved ones to jump in the moment. Sometimes they just avoid us. Let's be a little more intentional about that. Where is our power? And the last one is, how do I lead? Week 6 is, how do I lead? How do I make this world a better place for the people who come next? My daughters, for my granddaughters. How, for, and by association, sons, grandsons, humans, all people. How do we make this world better? And not just saving it for ourselves. Certainly we will benefit from it, but certainly other people will benefit from our clarity as well. So that's the 6 weeks. Registration is open now. I hope you'll join me. I capped the registration at 16, which I think actually is a little high, but we'll see how that works. So I have the standard and I have the VIP for Taking Up Space workshop. The standard has 1 hour each week for 6 weeks. And we get to have a conversation, but mostly I have a curriculum that I'm going to present. You're welcome to submit questions. You can talk during it. It'll be on Zoom and it'll be recorded. The VIP option, you get access to those recordings. Plus, everybody in VIP gets an extra 30 minutes after that hour for more intense, individualized mentoring, to ask maybe more in-depth questions. And it's presumably a smaller group. And also the third perk for the VIP is that $10 of your registration goes to a donation to Girls Inc., which helps girls develop into empowered women with opportunities, with education, with training, and with women teaching them who have figured it out for themselves. So I like that charity. It doesn't currently have a presence in Maine, and I'm sad about that. I hope that changes, but I want to make the world a better place. I want to make the United States a better place. I want to help heal our nation, and so this is a contribution that is an opportunity I'm giving to you in your registration as a VIP member. The sessions, after they're recorded, will live on Podia. It's a platform for courses. So after the cohort is over, you will be able to do a self-guided course on Podia, even if you haven't registered. Like, it's something that anybody will be able to access. So just trying to help women make their lives about themselves, maybe for the first time. Sometimes we make choices in our lives early on that were working for us for a while, and now they're not working for us anymore. So we just need to make some adjustments. I'm not saying blow up your life. I'm saying let's make some course corrections that make you feel like you're choosing the life you're living. Otherwise, we get resentful. We feel like our loved ones should be. If they loved us, they wouldn't ask us to do too much. Well, how do they know what too much is if we don't communicate to that to them? And how are they going to know it if we don't even know it? Believe it or not, we have a limited capacity. We have limited resources. We have limited energy. We have limited time. Let's use that wisely. I think a lot of us spin our wheels, and we keep relearning the same lessons over and over again from making the same mistakes over and over again. Let's get some clarity. Let's write it down. I'm working on a workbook too to go with it. Tell me what you think about that. The workbook that I'm calling Elbows Out, which could be a standalone item that you could also have access to, even if you don't do the Taking Up Space workshops. But a workshop to take you through these steps and to help with, in between the weekly sessions, do some exercises. The exercises are to make your list of who am I? Who am I outside of the roles that I perform, the things that I do for other people? I'm trying to remember some of the other things for the workbook that I came up with. Some of it is just make something, create something, something creative that you don't usually do. Essentially play. And my definition of play for my own personal self, which doesn't have to be for everybody else, is to do something that ends up with no product at the end. You do it not as a goal, not as a task. You engage in an activity that does not end up with a product. Otherwise, it feels too much like productivity to me. That's just my style. So you'll be encouraged to practice some of those things. There's another exercise in there about physically taking up space. Maybe you're in a crowded area and somebody needs to get by you. And so what do? We shrink, we move over. We don't need to be jerks about it, but maybe we just remind ourselves that we are entitled to occupy the space we're in. What a concept. And practicing that is what will prove it to us. There are other people in this world who don't move out of the way. It is a thing for people to feel confident taking up the space they're in. I know, seems wild. There are people who take up space without apologizing. Imagine what it would be like not to apologize for taking up space. A lot of women that I'm talking to, they say they do that in traffic. That's the only place that they really feel like they can do it. Like if somebody's tailgating them and it's making them mad, they will slow down. So that person is forced to go whatever speed she decides. And although I don't think that's a bad thing, it's also passive. That person has no idea about what your process is, what your needs are. They may not even understand that it's the tailgating that's annoying you, that's causing you to slow down. Let's be more clear about our assertions. Let's be more clear about what our needs are, and then communicate them. A lot of times when there's somebody tailgating me, I tell myself, well, it must be in a hurry. Like I used to live near a hospital, and so I used to think, well, maybe they're rushing to the hospital. Maybe there's a loved one in the seat next to them, and they need to get there as fast as humanly possible. And by changing that story in my mind, I can allow them to do what they need to do, and I can continue to do what I need to do. So quite often, I'll just pull over. The feeling is over. Like that feeling of having somebody pressure me, it's completely gone. I'm happier. They are happier. It's not a competition. You don't have to win traffic. We're all on the road. We don't have to get angry. So it's just an example of passive aggression that doesn't really work for us, because your passive aggression is not going to make them slow down in traffic. It's just going to make both of you frustrated. Why are you choosing that? Just a thought. And certainly not something that you have to do every time, but just give that some thought. Like, why am I doing this, and is it working for me? That's a lot of what Taking Up Space workshop is about. Evaluating what we're doing, why we're doing it, and whether it's still working for us. And if you're frustrated in your life, and you're resentful, and you feel like you're abandoning yourself to keep everybody comfortable, maybe it's not working for you anymore. So are you willing to explore some other options? Are you willing to think about things differently? Come up with some creative solutions, even if it's just a switch in your mind, like that traffic, like somebody tailgating you. Do you have to dig in on your narrative? Maybe there's a completely different narrative. Maybe you could just even tell yourself a different narrative so that you can have peace. A lot to feel anxious about the world. There are people, just this last week, I had somebody who I was meeting for the first time, and we sat down just to have a conversation, and she introduced a topic that was really controversial right from the start, because it's something that she feels anxious about. And it's something that she wants to hear other people's opinions about because she feels so anxious about it. But it's something that we all feel anxious about right now. And I kept insisting, I don't like feeling that anxiety. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something that unites us. Let's talk about something that we have in common, at least while we're getting to know each other, so that we can connect with each other's humanity. We don't need to start off figuring out if we're enemies or not. Maybe we can start out with the assumption that we are both human beings. Wouldn't that be a nice change? And that feels healthy to me. So we did. We talked about things that we had in common. And because of that, we can be friends. And when controversial things come up, because we will have the basis of knowing that we are both human beings trying to do what's best for ourselves and our loved ones and trying to make the world a good place, because we both know that's our goal, any conversation we have will be built on that. We don't have to start with the controversy. We don't have to start with, well, this is what's wrong with you. And this is why I'm right. It feels more peaceful to me. It feels healthier. It feels safer, less anxiety, less commotion, less struggle. Certainly, there are things to struggle about. Certainly, there are fights to be fought. Absolutely. But I don't want to do that every day. I feel like I need to take shifts with my other humans. That sometimes it's my turn to show up and represent and be visible and educate. And then sometimes it's my friends' jobs for them to show up and be visible and educate and represent. We don't all have to do everything every day. And what a relief to know that we can rest. Isn't it so arrogant to think that we can control other people, control their thoughts and reactions and feelings? I think that's so arrogant. That's what I tell myself so that I stop doing it. It is such a relief to let other people have their own process and not have to manage their big feelings and not have to make conditions just exactly right so that they can be comfortable and happy for my safety and my security. If I can build my own safety and security inside myself, inside my home, inside my life, then I don't have to look to other people for that. It's a different way to live. I'm tired of living in fear. I'm tired of making my decisions based on what I'm scared of. I'm tired of moving away from things instead of moving toward things. So the Taking Up Space workshop is about moving toward what we do want, creating a little space for ourselves so that we can breathe for a minute, so that we can evaluate. And why not do that in community with other women who are going through the same process? That feels good to me. I've been prototyping this workshop in Lincoln, Maine, which is a little ways from me. And it's gone really well. I've been able to have some really meaningful conversations, and women are telling me that I'm making a difference in their lives. Who doesn't want to hear that? I don't have all the answers. You would know You would know I was lying if I said I did. You're smart. You're wicked smart. And you're going to know that I am lying if I tell you I have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, but I know how to facilitate the conversations. And I know how to bring the structure so that we talk about topics that are meaningful, that are relevant, things that we all worry about. And within that structure, we can help ourselves, we can help each other. Heck, I learn something every time I do a workshop. And I hope that everybody who attends it leaves the same way. Sometimes there's a woman who comes to the workshop, usually as a favor to a friend, who sits there with her arms folded, her legs crossed, judging me, judging the group, judging the content of the workshop, because she feels like she already has it figured out. She already feels empowered in her life. And she doesn't need to learn any of this stuff, but her friend dragged her here, so okay. And it affects the dynamic in the room. I gotta be honest. It's hard for other women to feel safe, being vulnerable, being authentic, bearing their souls and their secrets in front of somebody who's judging the process and the experience. And it never fails. At some point in the workshop, this woman will say something like this. She'll say, I don't need any of this. I already know all this stuff. And that's when I have the opportunity to invite her. Because I know she didn't start out that way. I don't know very many women who start out as empowered, who start out knowing their value, their worth. And so I invite her to teach us about her process, her arc. From not empowered to empowered. What did that look like? What things did you learn? Please share it with us so that we can learn from it. And it's when she shares those things that I'm able to get a peek into where she is and then meet her where she is and help her with her process and her progress. And she usually walks away, she always walks away with a nugget. It's something she hadn't thought about in a particular way. So it's in the sharing that we all benefit. So even if you think maybe you don't know, even if you think maybe that you don't need the workshop, maybe somebody else needs to hear what you have to say. Maybe you can help somebody say it in a way that I never thought of saying it, or come up with a new facet that benefits me. We are all learning. Let's grow together. Let's take up some space together in community with other women who are also just trying to figure it out. So that's the Taking Up Space workshop. That begins on September 7th. Nope. That begins on September 10th. If you come on the 7th, if you log into the Zoom on the 7th, you will be alone. The workshop starts on September 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So do the time zone math, because I'm an English major. I don't do math. I hope you will join me though. And then I'm also working on, I'm working on a retreat. It's for next summer. It's going to be in the North Woods of Maine. And we're going to be off grid. We're going to be at a location. I'm scouting a location that is only accessible by boat. We have cabins. We have bathrooms. We have a dining hall with catering. But we're going to sit around the campfire and we're going to do boating and we're going to have workshops and we're going to do creative projects, art. I have a friend who does art for building community. So she's going to be there to help us learn in that way because our brain works in different ways. Our brains each work differently, and sometimes something that resonates with one person will resonate differently with another different person or not at all. So let's involve all the parts of our brains. That's coming next summer. The retreat is called Femistery. Think about monastery where like the priests go, or like a nunnery that would be for nuns. But this is a place where we learn how to be fully human women without apology and to embrace everything that means and not hide from it, not run from it, not apologize for it. We will all have feelings. We will all have thoughts. We will all talk about our opinions and try to work on our own personal identities and our group identity, but also have fun. It's going to be fun. It will be in the woods, just so you know. It will be in the woods, way in the woods, and on the water. So I'm working on that right now. Also in October 21st, I will be speaking at the Maine Women's Conference. That's in South Portland, Maine. It's an all-day conference on a Saturday. And the title of my breakout session speech is Bust Out of Your Britches. When someone tells you that you are too big for your britches, you need bigger britches. A friend told me that. What was it? I think it was 2 years ago. 2.5 years ago now. A woman said that to me. When someone tells you you're too big for your britches, you need bigger britches. Instead of making yourself smaller and quieter, maybe you take up more space. Maybe you don't conform to the expectations that you need to help other people stay comfortable for your safety. Maybe you learn how to invite people into your life who are okay with you taking up space. Maybe you educate the people who are important to you in your life. This is how you're going to show up now, without apology. Sorry, not sorry. What would that look like for you? So that will be my talk, my speech at the Maine Women's Conference on October 21st, 2026 in Portland, Maine. So I am enjoying the summer. It is the best month in Maine. August is my favorite month in Maine. It is not hot anymore. The bugs have run their course. It's not cold yet. Like there's a very small window of summer in Maine that's enjoyable. And it's usually the span of the month of August. So today's the 24th. We're coming to the end of that. Labor Day marks the end of the big summer season in Maine, though there will still be some days that are summer-like. But the cold snaps start coming, the frosts start hitting, the growing season ends pretty soon. So I'm just trying to soak it all up and be present for the summer. There's a joke that there are only 2 seasons in Maine, winter and 4th of July. So winter up here at camp seriously does last about 6 months. Like I have snow. Snow starts possibly as early as October. Definitely November, I'm getting snow. And the ice doesn't go out on the lake until April. So that's a whole lot of winter. But I live in paradise. I'm not complaining. I live in a place that I never imagined I could live. It is Camp Paradise. It is the best place on the planet. So, no complaints. All right. That's my update. Thanks for joining me. I hope you're well. Drop a message. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to come out with some promos soon about the Taking a Space workshop. I've been recording them today. So stay tuned for those. I do appreciate you. You know, there's a whole world of people out there being somebody else. Maybe you should be yourself. Maybe that's where your happiness comes and your peace, your joy, your fulfillment is in being fully yourself and not pretending to be somebody else or performing for other people. I wish you joy along that journey. And it's not a destination. The journey is the point. Enjoy the journey.